Let's return now and get some analysis on what we're seeing out of the G20 in Brazil. Joining me live in the studio is former Labor Minister, Sky News regular on this program, Stephen Conroy. Stephen, great to see you in person.
Good to be here.
This meeting between Xi Jinping and the Prime Minister, in fact, Xi Jinping and a whole heap of world leaders, it's quite a diplomatic push right now, as in the wake of the US election, Donald Trump set to really shake up the rules-based order internationally.
Yeah, well, as you saw during the campaign, Trump said, tariffs, it's the most beautiful word in the English language. And he seems to be intent on pushing ahead in, throwing away the international rules-based order. But for anyone to be sucked in by President Xi, particularly in Australia, where we have only just got the last, the lobsters were the last in a long line of goods from Australia, that they just punished Australia because we wouldn't abide by what they wanted on a whole range of other issues, starting at COVID and investigation all the way through. Let no one be fooled by this diplomatic push by Xi. China will not obey the international rules-based order, and they will use it any way they can to put pressure on people. So don't be fooled. We should welcome their sentiment, but never believe that they mean it.
When you look at the diplomatic dance that we're seeing at the moment, is it all about trade? Is it about strategic influence? What's happening here?
No,
because so much of what Donald Trump campaigned on, he was up front. He said it's about America first and really a more isolationist worldview.
No, absolutely. There's always been a strong Republican isolationist position. Trump has turbocharged that. So it'll be interesting to see how Marco Rubio, as the new Secretary of State, manages that tension with Trump just being erratic, as we all know he will be. Not can be, will be, and you just got to look at his appointments. I mean, oh my God. So Rubio will have a real challenge. He's got to remember who his allies and friends are, and he's got to work with his allies and friends to ensure that Trump's protectionist instincts don't harm us as much as possible. Our job to make the representation in exactly the same way when China cut off products. We have to maintain a relationship and work to solve that. But again, you can see that Australia is capable of walking, chewing gum.
We could see a situation, ironically, where you've got the free trade and strengthening relations with China, but with our closest security partner, a fractured trade setup.
Look, I just say ironic.
That would be bizarre.
That would be bizarre and ironic. Entirely the US is making and the President's making. I mean, but you can see that Labor government can walk and chew gum. At the same time as we're saying and welcoming China's initiatives on free trade, though no one should believe it, we're also just announced the deal, and congratulations to Richard Marles for announcing the Japanese troops on rotation through Darwin. So we can maintain a national security position with the US and in our own national interest, and a trade position. So that's a really important signal.
What's happening with the higher education reform? We thought there'd be bipartisanship on those.
Oh my God.
Student caps. The coalition's says that not enough consultation is done. They're not going to back them.
Look, this is just the rankest of hypocrisy. The actual immigration numbers. Labor lost a little bit of a control on this debate when it allowed the 500,000, 600,000 number, which included all the international students. Actual permanent immigration was below 200 and coming down under Labor. So the big blowout has been in student numbers. But the Dutton just wants to be able to say, we're blocking that, and then go and say Labor hasn't got control of migration, when the biggest swing factor right now is those students coming in for education. And he's now deliberately playing brutal politics, but no one should understand that. The next time he says Labor hasn't solved the housing problem, Labor's got too much pressure from migration, Peter Dutton, front and centre, you're responsible.
With the election just around the corner, literally, it is. We've got Christmas and then we'll be into it after Australia Day, whether the election is March or May. Do you think that budget in March will be delivered, and is it a significant set piece in that sense?
Look, I think that it's important for Labor to again restate its credentials on cost of living and what we're doing to reduce it. We've already had a raft of measures in this last budget. We'll need to do some more going into the election. That budget will be the frame for it. So I think they need to do the budget. The election will be called, probably April for May.
Yep.
But I think it's important that the budget allows Jim Chalmers to drive and Albo to drive that message about what we're doing around cost of living.
Stephen Conroy, appreciate it. Great to see you.